record us. Welcome to our manifestation day. Yay, January 1st, except for where it's not, or it's already the 2nd. So Australia. Hello. Okay, here's Stacy coming in too. I'll keep bringing folks in, but thanks for coming today and playing. This is gonna be a play day. I mean, here we are. We're just kind of pulling our energies together and going right for the year. So I love doing that on the 1st and having time with community, because as we're here together, hi Stacy, we get to increase the energy of any single one of us, right? So that we're creating this whole energy field. Whoops, I guess I better have me on here if we're going to actually realize that. There we go. Energy field that allows for even bigger energy to happen. So, hi John. Hey Hannah. In order to get us going, well, it's good to get into our bodies because we've got bodies. I mean, that's going to be a big theme for today. How to live in a body when we're actually trying to live also in these other realms, which is very challenging, I think, or can be. Speaking from somebody who's been homesick for a couple of days. Oh yeah, bodies. So let's do a lot of bodifying, and and we can introduce ourselves, and I'll do the thing of me starting, and then we'll just ask the next person to come. So bodifying, if you haven't done this before, is just finding your body. Let's do that right for a second. Tuning in, and then any kind of expression that wants to happen from the inside to the outside. So it's really a way of matching between what's going on internally and then how to express that so other people know. So let me see, for me, yes, I'm gonna like if you want to do this with me, you can. Oh, and I'm Julie, but you don't have to. So that's what's happening for Marge. How about you? All right. All right. And Marge, were you calling somebody else?
Sure. Carrie?
Sure. And Lindsay.
Woo! Woo!
Jeremy. I got Jeremy back here, and I think my sound is oh.
You have to call on someone.
Oh, sorry. Vanessa.
Susan.
Susan. What? Ah! Ah! Ah!
Christopher.
Laura.
Oh.
Jen. Zach.
All right, now I don't know who all's gone. Let's
Heather's not gone. Hannah.
Heather. Oh,
And Aaron. Stacy.
Ah.
And Grant.
Who else is there that hasn't been? Is that everyone, or is there someone that has not been? Oh.
I think that might
I
be
think that's it.
everybody except for either Ashley or Jeb or their kids, whoever's coming on.
And Hannah too.
Pardon?
Hannah.
Oh,
yeah.
Hannah. Oh, look at her, Hannah. So fun. There's Ashley. Ashley, we're modifying. Hi.
Is Ashley under Jeb's name?
Yes.
Ashley.
You can see me though, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm using Jeb's computer. That's my modifying. Hi, Zach.
So, okay, thank you. This is a great way to get present and just be here. Get ready to play. So I've taught this over the years. I love thinking about manifesting, and the good news is you're already manifesting all the time. So this is just about getting more conscious and aware of what you're doing. Because then maybe you'll manifest more of what you think you want, although at some point life is just happening. I mean, it's an unfolding experience, I think. But to get more conscious, aware of, oh, geez, I'm apparently committed to these things. And now in 2024, woohoo, maybe I want to actually shift some of that. And so this afternoon is going to be, or this morning, wherever you are, is going to be playing in that. And so we're going to do this in a variety of ways. And one of the things that I've been thinking about, in order to get us started, I'm going to show you this graphic I've been. Hi, Bethany. Glad you're here. I'm going to show you this graphic that I've been playing around with, so that you can see what I'm thinking and see what I want to play in the arena. So if you imagine, I think I can make this bigger, right? So this is, but I'm not going to. So that this is, well, all right, well, like, if this is you, if all of this whole graphic and much, much more, of course, beyond is you, like infinity and beyond, all of this is all this stuff out here. Imagine that. This is you connecting to flow. This is you connecting to your essence. This is you connecting to all that is. That's how you came in. So to imagine that, and I love to do this. So let's just do this for a moment. I'll come back to this graphic in a second. For you to remember you as a baby. Now, of course, that's impossible, but let's all remember each other as babies, because that was you. You were the little one that came in and people were like, whoa, look at that little tongue, little fingernails, and they just gooed and got it and just thought you were the most amazing thing, and you didn't have to do anything. So will you try to tune into that? Tune into that place. I was recently at breakfast with a friend of mine, and Eileen, you know Eileen, some of you, and there was a baby right there, and she said, oh, let's go look at the baby, because before, I'm not sure quite her words, but something like, before anybody has a chance to mess this little being up. So that was you. That was you coming in unconditioned. You were not yet conditioned. Yay, except you had to learn How many do you think? Millions of rules. You had to, in order to survive and be able to sort of move around in the world, you had to figure out, where to pee and where to poop and when to eat and how to eat. And that's just the beginning. So it goes on and on and on, what you had to learn, how to dress yourself, how to walk around in the world and look both ways, right? It goes on and on. So we had to condition you in order for you to survive. But it's the conditioning now that can get in your way, except for when you need it. So to really start to understand the push and pull of that in every moment, really, we're walking through the world in this sort of interesting tension between wanting to full out express who we are from our little baby selves and just scream in the grocery store. I really sometimes just want to lay down on the floor there. I guess it's sort of dirty, but right, to just be able to to do whatever we want to. But then the tension of, except that you're part of our pack, you have to follow those millions of rules. I mean, there must be millions. I don't know. Anybody try to count? People count breaths. They can probably count how many millions of rules we have. So again, to start to appreciate that that's what you're playing with. And that's kind of the fun part, is to be able to see the difference and start to experience what it's like to come in from essence. And then coming back to the graphic. So, right, so here's you, like there was no you. Where'd you come from? There was no you. And then bloop, suddenly there you are in a body, right? There's density. So this is very expanded energy. And now we start to get more into the density, because you have to have density to have form. All right, well, that's okay, maybe, except for then, how do you do that? How do you walk around and actually survive? So right now, I want to say one more thing before we go there. So if this is you with no conditioned response, this is just you as a little baby you, then here are your conditioned survival reactions. Okay, so if they're supposed to be there, yay. And so when somebody yelled at you to get back on the curb, you had that in your body, it worked. Thank you. Oh, I don't even know. What are they doing? I don't know. Oh boy. Right there's a body. Where'd that come from? I don't know who that is. So it's this stuff that gets triggered. It's these survival reactions that are constantly getting triggered in you. That was in there for a reason, except now they can get in your way. Now, if you are studying more with us at EPI, if you go way dense, then you get into this stuff. This is the stuff that's really anchored in us, our personas, our ways of just dealing with life, and how to survive. But out here, so I'm interested in this realm out here to start with today, before we get into the conditioned survival reactions. Who are you right out in this place out here? So in order to do that, now stop the share. In order to do that, I want to do a couple of things. One is I want to play for you one of my favorite Sarah Blondin meditations. Right, so it takes 12 minutes. Oh, but first, I should tell you what else we're going to do today, because before we step into that realm, I would like you to make sure you've got a couple of things with you. So if you've got something to write on, a journal, great. Although that will take you, writing. What did that even take to learn how to write? Eh? But I would like you to have a journal around or something to write on later. But then the other thing I'd like at hand would be anything that you could do that would be very formless. In other words, it could be something like Play-Doh. You're not going to create anything. Don't worry. I'm not going to ask you to make a statue of a bird. No, it's going to be actually the opposite. Could be a piece of paper that you're crumpling up. It could be just a pen and piece of paper. Doesn't matter. Because that'll be the second thing I'm going to ask you to do. You're not going to have to show it to anybody, even you. Okay, so that's the whole point. is for you to not have to worry about anything that actually has made you. This is a funny thing. I have a printer in here and it just started going up. I don't know why. Because I have a body. So anything, I'll start again. So in this next part, I would like to play you the meditation. And then I'm going to ask you to do some formless expression right after the meditation. But I'll tell you what I mean when we get to that. It's going to be you just deciding that you're going to express without having to decide it's good, bad, right, wrong, anything. It's going to come straight from your essence. Who knows if that's possible? We'll find out. Okay, so in order to do this, I have to share my screen, I think is what I understood, to get my sound to share. And now let's see if this works, because I couldn't figure out how to actually try it. Okay. I'm gonna. Could you, if this works and you can hear it, will somebody just put their thumb up? You hear that? You can't hear that.
Just see in the gallery. Jules, it's faint. Is it a YouTube video, Julie?
No, it's a podcast.
Can you share the screen that the podcast is on and then share sound in one of the menus from the function bar?
Sound. And I'm going to share. And let's see if that will work. Okay, so now that we've got it going, so get into a comfy place so that you can relax. And this is my fave person to listen to, Sarah Blondin.
I love you. I am listening. When is the last time you closed your eyes and said these words to yourself? When was the last time you took the time to give to yourself what you endeavor to give others? I love you. I am listening. Notice when you say these words to yourself, what takes place within your body. The softening it creates in every part of your being. Notice the space it blows open and the vulnerability you experience. I love you. I am listening. Notice who came forward within you when you said these words to yourself. The self that arrived when you touched your heart and spoke lovingly to it. This, my dear one, is your unstoried self. You have just summoned your highest self forward. The gentle love that lives inside of you, the gentle light. The self free from limits and heavy identities. How beautiful you are there behind your image. Realize your power in this moment. How you can reach out from your busy life and connect here. I hope you can feel the tenderness in meeting this self now, in the quiet of this moment. Speaking these words to your heart acts as a reconnection with the self we often ignore and sever ourselves from. Saying these words to yourself realigns you with the part of you that gets left out in the dark most days and is often neglected and forgotten as we follow our pursuits. I love you and I am listening reconnects us with the other half. And that half is our true nature, the self we forget to nurture and love. We have left our love for ourselves behind. We have splintered off from our wholeness and spend our days in search for others to fill this hole we feel echoing in our depths. We say, love me to another. We say, give to me what is lacking. We say, bring me to greater love. We say, heal what aches. We say, fill what feels too hollow. We say all of these things to the people that walk in and out of our lives, never to find the one, never to find the perfect person who can give us what we are so desperately wanting. The discomfort you feel in life, the separation, the rejection, the alienation, the sense that you are not enough, is because you are living in the space between your two selves. You are living in the reality that you are lacking and in needing of filling because you have become separate from your own heart. Once you find your way back to your heart, you will realize there is nothing you are in need. You will realize love is yours to give to yourself. With daily practice and time given to say these words to our own hearts, we begin to float. What once felt empty now begins to fill. What once felt desperate feels hopeful. We become round and plump with our own love. We stitch together the divide we created between ourselves. We step into our whole version of self. We have realized we have been the one. We have always been the one who can bring our lives into the fulfilling place we dream of. What we look for from others is fundamentally our work. With every day we endeavor to love another, we too must learn to endeavor to love ourselves first. In so doing, we fill our own needs first. Others who so graciously give love to us only add to our already full store of love. We no longer divide ourselves. We no longer splinter. We remain whole. We then swim completely immersed in love. All other love we receive then uplifts us to higher levels of love. It does not need to work to fill our aching gaps, for we have done so already for ourselves.
Oh boy. Hang on. We have a playback error. I'm going to see if we can finish it. If we can't, I'll finish it, but I'll give it one last try.
There we love. It does not need to work to fill our aching gaps, for we have done so already for ourselves. We fall into balance and alignment, that is led by the heart. The vulnerability you meet in this space is what breaks down our barricades, our suffering, our neurosis. This vulnerability is the place of palpable beauty and love. No story or identity or pattern you carry can stand in this place, for your greatest power lives here, and it defies all pain and suffering. It does not wound, it does not carry. It is love in its purest form. And close your eyes now. And let the music fill your bones and dissolve your barriers. And let it lift the veil between worlds. And let it soften you. Just breathe. And in this moment, allow yourself to feel. You are safe here to allow all of your emotions to be heard and felt. Please place one hand on your heart and the other on your stomach. Lovingly hold yourself and repeat after me. I love you. 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 You deserve nothing but love. You deserve to be draped, wrapped, cocooned in love. You are not lacking of this, dear one. It is yours, here within you. There is a never-ending supply of it. Just be here and drink of your nature. You are love. You are love. You are love. And breathe, holding yourself ever so gently. Growing more full on your own beauty with each inhale. And let all searching outside of yourself stop here. Take a moment to realize your source of unending nourishment and love has been inside of you all along, within your own heart. I'd like you to meet yourself here in this place as often as you can remind yourself. Hold your heart, whisper, I love you, I am listening. And nourish yourself by your own hands, your own voice, your own heart. Once aligned with your own source of love, We can love without condition. We can walk without weight. We can heal what we temporarily forgot in our humanness. When the world gets too big in ways that don't allow you to feel this part of you, when you have forgotten to tend to your own being, simply stop. Find your way back here. Let speaking to your heart take the lead as often as you can remember, for in so doing, your needs will diminish as you embody your own great beauty. Nothing is outside of you. Your own kingdom of fulfillment is within.
Sarah Blondin. So from that, I'm going to go to pure expression. Here's the idea: is manifestation is simply about you expressing you and getting more and more skilled at you expressing you. So with that in mind, if you would take whatever you have around you, I don't have Play-Doh in front of me, but I do have a little glasses thing. Or I've got all these things to draw on. Just take something. And now for me, I've noticed a big obstacle that I've created about just expressing is that I have ideas about how it's supposed to look or sound. And I immediately apply my conditioning to, I don't know, is that a good line? Is that a real circle? So if you are willing, this is the part about it's going to be pure expression with no judgment. I see Laura, like just doing it because, so I'm going to do this with my eyes closed because my eyes want to judge. Some of you have done this wonderful exercise that I learned from Katie Hendricks, and this is actually an offshoot of that, which is to express your next impulse. And so here's a way to express an impulse is with something else. That's what relationship is. I have currently a relationship with this cloth. Like I can express it however I want to, but without deciding this is a good expression, that's bad expression. But instead to be in the expression. Just in the expression. And I'd like us to take about 5 minutes to do that. So I'm going to put 5 minutes on my watch timer thing. And just to do this, when do you ever let yourself do this? Maybe you do it all the time. What do I know? But to just follow your next impulse. And again, if you've got your things that you want to play with, maybe you don't want to play with them. Maybe that's your impulse. But that's the idea, is to go from you, the you that you were just loving on, out to just expressing whatever you want to express. So here goes 5 minutes. with some regret. I'm going to tell you that was 5 minutes. I just love that so much to follow flow. What I'd like to do is put you into some breakout rooms so you right away get to talk if you want to. You don't have to talk if you don't want to. But if you decide to do this, here are the questions I'm asking you to talk to each other about. What obstacles do you create? This is about following flow, is it? Well, can you? What's it like to follow flow? But what obstacles? So now you had a little 5-minute experience of that. Maybe you have a whole lifetime. So what obstacles do you create? And then how do you shift those? Right? So let's take, oh, I never know. You don't know each other. Let's take 10 minutes. Let's see how that goes. I'll check in with you, but I'm going to open the rooms. If you don't want to go to a room, fine. Just don't join one, but I'll switch people around. So, anybody want to speak to anything that came up while you're out there with your folks?
I feel pretty blissed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard to find you, Zach. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, the combo of the meditation and then that total just free form expression. It's like, oh man, I feel good.
Should we just keep it at that?
It's enough for me. Thank you so much, Julie. It's been awesome.
Yeah, see you, Zach. Well, this could be the beginning of 2024 for you. All right, I'm putting Sarah Blunden in the chat. So her Live Awake is the name of her podcast. Love her so much. She's my go-to. You can find her on Insight Timer. That's the one I now that's the app I use, but you can find her without being part of that whole thing. I'm not expanded. I listen to Sarah Blunden. She's so into, I mean, her words and music go hand in hand with what we're doing. So you're blissed out. Good bliss. That's expansion. Anybody else want to speak anything?
I really enjoyed our breakout room. I got to ask questions of what things felt like to people, and it was really, really juicy conversation.
Good. Yay. Connection, relationship. Wonderful.
Yeah,
Well,
we had a great
go ahead, Vanessa.
We had a great conversation about fulfillment and just exploring that topic in different ways. So that was it was just a lot of fun to connect.
I'm enjoying that word, fulfillment, like to feel full, to fully fill ourselves. Right? What does that mean? And I think this whole afternoon and maybe our lives are about how to be in alignment, right? From here, from the bliss, how to be in alignment from bliss, my bliss self to my life, this life in this 3-dimension. Well, and beyond plane, dimensional plane. Yeah, fulfillment. Do we feel full? Well, let's do this. Let's take 5 minutes because then we've got stuff when you come back. We got more stuff. So we'll take 5 and I'll see you in 5.
It's terrible. It's like the best food time of year. And we lost our sense of taste and smell. And it was just like we had it all. And so we literally just sat there eating things because we had to sustain ourselves. And you're like holding it in your mouth and you're like, anything, but you're not sure if it's your mind remembering what an orange tastes like. And you're like, nothing.
Is there an orange out here? All right. Well, some of you are back. Not everybody's back. So I want to tell you about my playroom. I recently created, we have this funny little extra room in our basement and we just haven't known what to do with it. It's just been filled with all kinds of, stuff, right? You put all the stuff in that extra room. Well, I thought recently, oh, what I want is a place where I can go in and, okay, so here are the rules. You can do anything you want, but you can't judge it. So now I have big newsprint up, and I've got tempera paints, remember from elementary school? Because it's like there's no, it's, you can splash them all over the place. But then I have to throw everything away. So just as an invitation, I'm really enjoying my playroom. But again, if you ever come into my playroom, you are welcome, but you can't know, wow, that looks so pretty. Nope, or oh, that's the rule, just pure expression. So I'm guessing that you have your own versions of that. If you want to put those in the chat, like what did you do so that you can just have expression without that. But you know, it should look, I can't believe it sounded like you know, all the stuff, right? All the ways that we just break, you know, put obstacles in our way. Pure expression. So I want to bring this whole piece in that I've been playing around with for actually it's been a long time, but it's not done. I'm not sure any of this is ever done, but I want to start bringing this in of this funny thing that we have. Okay, so here we are. We came in, we weren't there, and now we're here, and now suddenly we're supposed to have a life. Isn't that weird? Think of the challenge. You're just a little baby, and now you're supposed to learn all the rules, and then you're supposed to have fulfillment too. Right? That's what you're up against here. That's an interesting challenge that has been put at your feet. Go ahead, live your biggest life and survive too. Make enough money so you can eat and keep yourself clothed and everything. But then at the same time, be sure that you feel really good and like you're actually fully expressed. And like that's an interesting little dichotomy potentially some of the time. So as we play with that today about getting an alignment so that your expression really is from you, I thought it'd be interesting to talk these over a little bit in that this is what I came up with. Excuse me while I go find it. Yep. So I've been noting things in my book. I am way open to this just being the beginning of a list because I'm sure there are many others. Yeah, I'll just start here. I was going to use my actual doc, but I'm not going to. I'll just have to note it to myself if you have more things you want to add. Okay, so I think playing two games at once. Now, okay, now that you've seen this, I'll actually put it into the chat so you can see it, but I'm going to go over it. Playing two games at once. That's what we're doing. We're playing these two games. Now, as many of you know, I love to play softball. I love to ride my bike. You all have your games that you love to play. Well, weird, wouldn't it be to play softball and I don't know what, rugby at the same time, right? I mean, they probably have some different games or rules, but, or let's make it even more obscure. Rugby and let's see, the rules of painting of human face, right? I think part of what is challenging, and we actually, I think, this is my projection. Let's see if I can say it without projecting. I feel challenged when I read spiritual stuff and I'm like, okay, don't have an ego, you know, be open, go and flow, but be sure that you don't, when you drive a car, you don't hit anybody. Like, I think there's this built-in problem that we don't actually speak to. And so that's what I wanted to speak to here is, some of the time when I'm driving a car, survival is the thing. It really should be the only thing. Right? So to understand what I'm playing, the rules of survival, I need to be playing that in a certain way. However, if I'm playing the rules of expansiveness and alignment with my being, I'm probably going to play by a different set of rules. All right, so that's what I gave you a quick feeling of, and now I'm going to put it into the group, and you can look at it that way, but I'm going to share it so that I can walk you through what I think. This is not exhaustive, like I said, so. Make this a bigger. All right, so, that's hard to read. See, see what I mean? And then you end up with this. Now you have more empathy for why I am who I am. Because I'm trying to operate in these realms at the same time. You see how it gets to be a problem. All right, so here we have this three-dimensional body. We have a three-dimensional world, because if I hit another car, there is a car there, and there will be a crash. However, if I'm already always in that contraction, I can't access these other realms. And so moving back and forth between these two games, to me, that is kind of this basic challenge. Because these are the things, right? If I'm online at all, which of course I am, this is what I'm seeing over and over again. You got to make things happen. You got to be sure. I mean, what you see is what you get. Things are cause and effect, linear, sequential, do this, then do this, then do this. If you're going to have a website, you've got to go through these three things. If you've, or 53 things, if you're going to have a business, you've got to do it a certain way. If you start to listen in, you can hear many people, of course, are coming up with those rules from their survival brains. So just start to tune into that. It doesn't mean it's good, bad. It just means that's the rule. That's the game that they are trying to teach you to play, is how to survive and how to make money. And this is the way you do that. Now, this number 3 is very interesting to me. It focuses on survival. When I listen in to our conversations collectively, we are talking about this all the time. What'd you have for dinner last night? Hey, you know, I'm looking at this new house. Wow, I was driving home and there was a guy following me, right? Over and over and over again. This is our conversation. What's our retirement plan? What do you have in your bank account? Are you using a good credit card, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So to really see how we are trying to teach each other to survive. I love the hacks. Do you watch the hacks? Hacks for this, hacks for that. What are the hacks? Well, they're saying, oh, it's easier if you do it this way than that way. So as this ongoing conversation, I think humans are trying to teach each other to survive better. Well, that's nice of us, isn't it? Right? We don't have to do that, but we do. And who are those people that make videos of how to, I don't know, what was I looking at last week? I couldn't even tell you. I'm sure you have the YouTube that says, here's if you've got a clog in your pipe. So over and over, we're very focused on this, how to survive. Good, it's worked. Yay! So give yourselves a little pat. You've done it. Will you do it tomorrow? I don't know, right? It's an ongoing question. With all of these things in mind, though, look at this. Status is everything. That means every time we're comparing ourselves against each other and competing, like, okay, mine is bigger, yours is smaller, whatever that is. That's part of this. It's just part of this. So again, to start to hear this, that, oh, this is all that's going on. Somebody's trying to help me survive, or I'm just trying to help myself survive if I think I'm not as good as you or whatever. It's because I'm in this whole game. It's not a bad game. It's a kind of a fun game. Plan, be ready, predict the future. How do we know? Well, because last time it happened this way, so that's what we got to do. Life is struggle. Effort is necessary. I was talking to a young woman a few weeks ago who still had to finish some papers. And we were talking about how hard she was being on herself. And she said something like, I know, but if I'm not hard on myself, I won't finish these papers. I thought, oh, perfect. That is very adaptive, right? To use that to be part of this survival experience that she needed to finish this stuff up. There's a time and a place for that. Learn from your mistakes. This one, how many times? How many times have I said it? Have I heard it? Oh, but that's pretty woo-woo, isn't it? Well, in this world of survival, woo-woo has no place. Woo-woo, of course, should be scorned because that's just a waste of your time and energy. But to just, again, hear it for what it is, it doesn't mean it's not true. It just means in this game, that's not what's important. I'm on my own. My life depends on me. I've got to make it happen, right? This is a good one for some of us. Number 10, if I worry more, I'm going to be able to predict, control. I have to protect myself from danger. I got yourself and myself. Oh, and things are bad, so we have to act to change what is. Now, right, we know the world and what's going on in the world and all the stories we have about the world. Well, so if I'm going to change the world, well, this is a survival issue. Survival rules apply here. Right? It just means it's going to take more energy. So this is all reactor brain. Is it ringing bells for you? And then be careful, budget and control resources because they're finite. So, but then look over here. Woohoo. Can we all breathe now? These are different rules. This is a different game. It doesn't mean a better game. It just means different. So that if you're trying to generate your own experience, to know some of the time you're going to be using the survival rules, maybe a lot of in your day. And there's nothing wrong with that. And again, from kind of a spiritual, that realm of people talking about the ego and personality and all the things that are wrong with us. It's like, well, I guess we all need this stuff or we wouldn't still be here. So again, way to go. So this is all about being in flow. That's what we started with, that first experience, just being in this moment, the bliss of that. Now, of course, this gets dense fast. So well, is it really dense? It's actually expanded. But I don't want to go too far into this stuff. This is what we're playing with in EPI all the time. Except that we're going to get to intentions in the coming up. What are your intentions for 2024? Well, why is that important? Because right now isn't a mistake. It's not what I did wrong. The outcome of right now is just part of flow. It's just saying, oh, this is all because this is what my intention was. This is how I was committed. So I got sick. Yeah. Yeah. It's just what my commitment was. That's how my body organized itself. Oh, well. So if I want to shift this, I don't have to yell at myself and say, wow, I was so bad. What was wrong? I just say, oh, okay. Am I ready to shift that commitment or not? And then this is something I quote over and over again from Paralandra. Humans supply the intention, nature supplies the raw materials. So this is why I focus so much on creating intentions, which is what we'll be doing. And now the focus isn't on what's wrong. The focus is on just celebrating the glory. It's not about how we're different. It's not about us competing with each other. We're all the same. We're all connected. We're all beings. So I'm going to do some compare and contrast. So instead of life is struggle, how many times have we heard that? How many times have I read that? Life is hard. Well, sure, in this game it is, but not in this game. Life is ease. Learn from your mistakes. What if there are no mistakes? What if it's just your experience? What if you don't have to judge yourself anymore? What would I do with all my free time? Okay. Is to be scorned. Okay, well, all is well. Life is kind. It just, there's this whole other realm. It's instead of, well, that's not actually true. I think this can often happen when I read stuff about medicine and people, trying to figure out, oh, that stuff, like all that energy medicine stuff, is that real? No, it's not evidence-based, et cetera, et cetera. Well, we don't have to scorn it. We can actually say, no, it's true too. It's true too. In fact, there's this whole other realm that's available to any of us all the time. It's just a different game. I'm not on my own. Let's take a breath, Julie, with everybody else. Imagine you're not all on your own. You're totally supported in all ways by energies in other realms. So just let yourself breathe into that as a possibility that, in fact, it's not just up to you what you make of your life. No pain, no gain, all that stuff. That's a fine game to play. But what if you're actually supported in all ways by energies from other realms? And then instead of trying to predict and control with worry, here's a good intention. Give it up. Be with what is and trust that you're part of life. There's no danger. Huh. Imagine if there was no danger. What? What about that car? Well, I don't know. There's this, David Hawkins tells this story, and I bet you've got your own, and I'd love to share them at some point. So the whole story is, let's see, if I can, of course, I'm recreating it from reading this 20 years ago, right? So I'll do my best. He's walking into this cabin, and he comes face to face with this rattler, this rattlesnake. Whoa, there's the rattlesnake. There's David Hawkins. And what he does is shift his consciousness away from, uh-oh, danger, danger, to, this is my brother. Here's a rattlesnake. I am one with this rattlesnake. We are not on opposing sides. We're part of life. And of course, the rest of the story was he did not get bit. The rattlesnake, I don't know how it ended, but he lived to tell the tale. So to imagine that if you connect to life as just all of a whole, that there is no danger. Whew, different game. Number 12, miracles. What the heck is that? Well, if you look around, it's everything that's happening. It's breathing. It's healing. It's life, it's breath, it's everything. But of course, it's beyond that. It's what we're not even noticing because we're up here. We're just trying to not see danger and protect ourselves and talk about the latest hack. So we don't tune into pine trees and how they are standing around supporting us. We don't tune into what miracles are there all the time. And of course, this is just what I am accessing even this moment, but it's the bigger miracles that I wouldn't even see because I'm so neuro-focused versus open focus into, whoa, the coolest thing happened today. Resources are infinite because all is love and there is no end to that. It's infinite. So it's not good game, bad game. It's, oh, good to know if I'm going to play this game and when do I want to play that game. How to be really facile at shifting from one to the other, from one set of rules to the other set of rules. I'm going to stop the share and see if you have anything that's coming up for you about any of that. And I know this is weird to, oh, Vanessa, good, thank you. The pauses, please, go ahead.
I really appreciate this because, as you know, I've just decided to get a job, and in a way it has actually freed up my creative energy in a way that trying to live my fulfillment was never, it was so much stress, right? And so I started writing, and I feel so good now having the base of resource, right? So because I've been living in this world of, you got to live from your creativity. Like I've been trying to make that happen in a weird way from creative brain, right? And so to just allow yourself the freedom to so it's just been my own personal journey to say, okay, look, I need to have some resources in order to resource the creativity and the flow, and it feels great. And it's just, it is playing the two games, and it is not making either one wrong. That's, why do we need to make each other wrong?
Yeah. And will you say more about what feels great to you?
Because I've been an entrepreneur for 12 years, and I've always been trying to make my own game. And when I got the job, a lot of people asked me, how do you feel? And I said, I feel like I can breathe again. I feel like I can breathe again. So it's just like this exhale. It's like, yeah. That's how it feels. It feels like, feels open, spacious, expansive, all the things that we want. And it's just coming at it, just allowing yourself to play it differently, you know, without losing yourself. So
It's
hopefully that makes
reminding
sense.
me, excuse me, of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And if you can remember that, if you've seen that, right? But the basic idea of if you haven't taken care of these needs, you can't get to these needs. And up here somewhere is self-actualization. So food, shelter, belonging, the basics, and then to be able to step into the rest. I think the other side of the risk is that we get so compelled by that physical plane that it looks like that's all there is. And then we're fighting with each other over resources and competition, and we're in the conflict with each other over the budget and the things, because we forget, oh, it's time to shift to this other game where we'll do a better, it'll just be easier for this to unfold in a more expanded field.
And I think, Julie, that's a really good point, because I think then once you have those Maslow's hierarchy of needs met, then it's about looking around at all that you do have. Like I remember when I was about 4 or 5 years in recovery, I met this man at a meeting, and by his admission, his life was in the crap heap. And so he took a piece of paper and he folded it in half, and he put all the things that he wanted, and then he put all the things that he had, and they were exactly the same. Right? Because he's like, a roof over my head, money, Well, he had a roof over his head. He said, yeah, was I 2 years behind in my mortgage? Yes, but the bank hadn't taken it yet. Did he have a job? And he's like, well, yeah, he was a self-employed barber. And then he was able to start seeing in ways in which he was actually taking away what it was that he really wanted. And that helped him on his road to recovery. But it was that idea, and I know that I fall into this myself a lot too, into that idea of that scarcity mode, going back to these competings, like how can I be grateful when? How can I this because of that? But if I take the this and the that out and just, okay, yes, so there's this thing over here, but there's also all of these things over here. And so if I spend my time looking at the things that I have, what I have accomplished, then all of a sudden this seems like nothing, it's accomplishable as well. It's very easy to bring the two together. But if I spend my time here, this has disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like all of a sudden, everything here doesn't matter anymore, because I'm just spending all my time on here on the things that I don't have.
So developing the ability to shift back and forth. And of course, we do that so much of the time, seeing this creative brain, reactive brain, not reactive brain bad, but physical body density to more expanded realms, and going back and forth and knowing how to shift ourselves, because all of those, every single state of consciousness is adaptive for us. We need them all. We need them all. There's another reminder here. Yeah, Christopher.
I really loved what you shared about David Hawkins' rattlesnake story. And my question for you, Julie, is how can I shift my consciousness when the rattlesnake appears? And I'll give you context. The most often rattlesnake that appears for me is someone's not going to love me. Either they're not going to buy from me, they're not going to hang out with me, they're not going to make things special. So I just thought, like, every time that comes up, oh, rattlesnake, how do I shift my consciousness instead of having the fear of they're not going to love me? How can I shift instead and see that rattlesnake as my brother in consciousness?
I love that question, Christopher. I think writing it down is a really good place to start, and maybe setting an intention. That is my aspiration overall in my life. Exactly what you just said, is to be able in the moment to shift my consciousness. I'm getting better and better at it, but if I was face to face with a rattlesnake, I don't think I could do it. I'm thinking about, you hear my dog park stories all the time. So there was a guy at the dog park probably a couple years ago. I haven't encountered him again. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe it has to do with, I don't know, different states of consciousness. But he was totally my rattlesnake, and I got into it with him because he yelled at our dog and I yelled at him, and he was bigger and he won. Anyway, that was me getting bit by the rattlesnake. So that would be an experience of me not doing the thing that we're talking about. What my aspiration is in that moment, I would have the wherewithal to be like, oh, this is about me, not about them. How can I shift right now? Marge, I see your raised hand.
Yeah, it's hard to it's really entrenched that one is better than the other, though. That I should be, without making myself wrong, even when there's legit danger, that if I were to be in creative brain, the universe would work it, and I'd be in sync with the universe, and I'd be immune, you know what I mean, impervious to all that legit danger, because I'd be shifting my perception of that. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't even legitimize it in my belief system. I really buy that as a I buy that even more than theoretically. And I want to untrench from thinking one is better than the other, because that's the first time I heard that it's not. But I'm still doing a whole lot of yeah buts right now that I think are going to get in my way.
Right? I know, it's the first time you've heard that it's not. Now, let's keep in mind, is that true? I don't know, right? But still, it's just start to see our bodies, like to trust ourselves, and we're doing the best we can here. And so, yeah, I mean, I did not die in that encounter at the dog park. It was all went fast. You know, it's like I still remembered in my body. Better, worse, I don't know. However, in terms of me getting better, meaning what? What does that mean? Good, there it is. There's my conditioned brain right there. Expanding my realm of possibilities. That's to me, like, I want to have a full deck. I want to have all the cards in my hand, not just my reactive brain cards. I want everything. So could I actually experience a whole different kind of encounter? That sounds fun to me. That just sounds fun and interesting. Is it better? I don't know.
Well, and Jules, I think maybe I can now answer in part my own question, because I do recognize that when I have resistance to my reactive brain function, then now I'm really in reactive brain. Do you know what I mean? I really get the permission or the acceptance or the self-acceptance. So
Yeah.
thanks. Yeah.
Good time of love on our reactive brains. They got us here. They got us here. They keep us alive. Yeah. I'm wondering if you need any other questions you want to put in the chat, or any reactions? Are we doing on time? What do we do here?
I love the idea that there's two games. And I've heard you say, you know, that we love contrast. You know, so I don't know, floating around in creative brain, it's nice, but the drama of reactive brain is kind of fun too sometimes.
Yeah,
you know, so like so to choose to play with it and to see them both as games is such a, like, I love that. It's like listening to you talk about these two things, I felt so settled in my body, because it's like my reactive brain can take spirituality and make it a reactive brain thing, but it looks real dressed up and creative brain, in my words. So it's like, oh yeah, it's a game, there's choice, and we need both, you know, in this 3D world. So I'm loving this idea, two games.
Great. Yeah. 3D world. That's challenging. Doesn't always have to drive the bus, says Laura. Yeah. That's right. It doesn't have to. Even though probably want something as a driver. If you're in a bus. I'm flashing back to when I drove a bus. Yeah, that was fun. I was specifically, I was driving for I was working for a group home, and I drove the bus to get the kids in the morning, the adolescents. And you can imagine, here's a good story. See, what kind of stories would I have? Driving over, coming down the hill into Boulder. So imagine that, driving down that hill with a kid with a broom over my head, threatening to whack me with the broom as I'm driving. Anyway, that was a reactive brain moment for sure. Got in my body as a result. And of course, I lived to tell the tale. I did not turn around and love on the kid. I just want to let you know. I can't remember what I did do. I think I just kept driving and praying, praying for the best. Right? What kind of stories would we have if we didn't have our reactive brains? All right, well, let's see. I think this is a good time to shift to this question. Yeah, this is good. All right, so here's our big context. We've got all the out there's, right, the graphic and connection to flow, and then you're coming in, you got your body, and you have to figure this game out of survival. Whew. So with that in mind, how do you bring yourself into the 3D plane, right? How do you bring your soul into the 3D plane? I mean, that's weird. And how do we even figure out there might be one soul? What is that? Figure that out, right? So in other words, how do you become in alignment with your real self being expressed into your life? And imagining 2024 as a time that you get to thrive in that experience of self-expression, whatever that means, which could mean, I don't know, getting a new car. I don't know what it means for you, but now we're out here coming into form more and more. In order to do that, do you need a pee break? Anybody, put your thumb up if you need a pee break. You can always go do that anytime you want. All right, well then we'll continue. Because what I'd like to do here is go into breakout rooms with a specific purpose in mind. And it's going to take us, there's a couple of steps to what I'm going to ask you to do. All right, so first I will tell you, and then I will write it into the chat. Many of you have done the Genius Quadrant. You don't need to even know what I'm talking about right now. But if you can start to orient to that, I'm going to be asking you to talk about your gifts. I need a drink of tea. In other words, so we've got lots of ways of talking about this. What is essence coming in from many directions? How do you know your essence? I don't know, except we can guess. And so one way would be, what do you most love to do? What do you most love to do when you're in flow? In flow, meaning time is disappearing. It's all easy. You're in that bliss state. Let's see, you're in the zone of flow. So Csikszentmihalyi's book Flow, if you haven't read it, you might want to read it. If anybody can put, without looking, you could spell out Csikszentmihalyi without looking, you get extra credit. So he wrote The Zone. It's a great book. So when you're in the zone, the zone. The zone is when you're not thinking about anything else, right? You're just not thinking about anything else. You're so focused on what is. What are you doing? Because that's what I'd like you to start with is that. So why don't you take 5 minutes right now to write down, maybe you're already doing it. I see some of you very good students are writing down what you're doing when you're in the zone. And I'm going to give us 5, 5 minutes on the clock. What are you doing? And if anybody wants to start putting stuff in the chat. There's my chat. If you want to put anything in the chat about what you're doing, that would help other folks get their own thinking going. Okay, that's 5 minutes. That was so fun. I had such a great time watching what people were saying. Now oh, Monet. Ooh, love. Oh yeah, being with dogs. So now I wonder, by show of hands, how many, I'm not going to ask, by the way, just so you know, not yet. I'm not going to ask you to speak it, but how many of you, if I asked you, could tell me what your life purpose is? Yeah. Now, does that mean like for sure? No. How would anybody know, right? But to start, what we're doing is we're out there, we're coming into form, right? So it was very unformed, very much out into expanded energy, and we're coming into form. And so we're coming into words like dogs and artisans and salsa and mischief. Like, so we're coming into form. In order to do that, one of the things I think can be helpful is for you to know what is your life purpose. Now, I think I might have like 4 or 5 by now. I don't know. Like, right? It's not as though I think, and this is it, and I know it's true, and that's just it. I'm not trying to harness you in that way, or basically keep you so limited. I don't mean that. But you having focus is different. Is for you to be able to own, I'm here for a reason. Instead of, I don't know why I'm here. I mean, I don't know, we could do a different show of hands, maybe we don't need to today, of those of those of us who have just wrestled with that question, what the hell am I doing here? That might be it, right? Like, I don't know, how did I get here? Why am I on this train? Can I get off, right? What's the point? That whole question of what is the point? Well, so actually having the bravery to say there is a point. You are the point. That's what I'm asking you to do, is to declare, is to come into your body and declare, this is what I'm doing here. And you can change it as many times as you want, but to bring yourself enough into form and focus instead of staying in that kind of in between. Sarah Blondin would call it the static of the in between, like coming into your body to say, oh, I'm here for a reason, and letting yourself settle into that reason. That's a big deal. And I don't know if you even want to. That's up to you. But I'm offering that as a possibility, that you declaring a life purpose would actually settle you and focus you more. So some of you already have one, and great, and you can change it and modify it. But the reason we started with your gifts is because I would say your gifts are your purpose. Your gifts are your purpose. Like, those are the same thing. You came in ready to express who you are. Thank you. I appreciate it. It was really nice of you to do that. But it wasn't easy, was it? And so this part would be you letting yourself think about this and write something down, and then talk about it in a breakout room. Coming out with your own life purpose. Now, like everything else, you don't have to do this if you don't want. However, listening to other people declare, I think, can help with that sense of courage and I'm stepping in. Right? Yes, let's see. And then share it in the breakout. Correct. Yes, Hannah. So why don't you take, I don't want to belabor this and have it generate more anxiety. So take about 2 minutes, that's all, 2 minutes, and write down something. It could be Monet. That's good, that was easy, right? It could be your whole life purpose, great. And then you can change it in 15 seconds if you want. Or you can be like, yeah, it doesn't quite capture it, and now I'm gonna just play around with this with other folks. All right, 2 minutes I said, but I didn't put it on the clock. 2 minutes starting, well, now it's 1 minute. Starting now. While you're doing that, I'm going to go back to the breakout rooms. Now that we've got folks coming and going, I'm going to actually generate different breakout rooms just so that you can know that. All right, so yes, as Hannah said, I can share this, but share the whole concept. Like, do you want to have a life purpose? Oh, Jeremy, yeah, I gotta make sure Lindsay, well, Lindsay and Jeremy, well, you'll just have to figure out your own breakout. I mean, you'll be in a different breakout room with everyone else. The two of you will have to share your screen is my point.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, I'll check in at 10 minutes, see how you're doing, but probably we'll be doing this for 15 minutes. Here we go. Oh, fun to see your faces up there. I don't know. Somebody called iPad, but I don't know what your real name is, unless from now on we should call you iPad.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm Sarah. I'm having a hard time changing my name. I don't know why.
Good for you. I'm glad I asked. I didn't know that was you back there.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, life purpose. Woohoo! You did it in front of people.
Yeah.
Ha! Oh, yeah. Was that brave? Seems brave.
Very.
Yeah, very. Right? Like you're declaring, you're saying, here I am. I am here. Ha! Whew! I'm informed. Whew! I'm here for a reason. Whew! Whew! So way to go. Bravo. Be brave. It's on my ring. Be brave.
Jules, I just had an image.
What?
That is, it just gave me a little like a little bit of oomph. I'm going back to your drawing. I said, okay, that's what we're doing this whole time. I'm informed, then we're encouraging creative brain, free form, boom. Boom, I get it. And I might have to pass through, and I'll probably have to pass through reactive brain to get back. I mean, maybe, but what I love is the quantum truth of that, the reconstitution of my form.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you.
Reconstitution of your form. Uh-huh. That's right. Reminds me of that idea of how many cells are at any given day are regenerating themselves, right? So we're regenerating, and here we are reconstituting into this form today. And maybe in a whole different direction, maybe not, maybe the same thing is unfolding, but you came in. Thank you for coming in. Bodies, appreciate that. Takes a lot, these bodies. Thank you for being willing to take care of them. Anybody else have anything you want to Throw in there. Zach, yes.
Our breakout was kind of interesting because I don't know if I did it or not, but my sense was I didn't have an exact purpose outside of like, it was more quality based. It was like I could kind of do the qualities, I had the qualities that I wanted to experience or create or whatever. And then it was like, the form didn't actually matter quite as much. It was like, well, I can kind of do it here or there or anywhere,
Right?
So I don't know for what it's worth.
Well, I think that can be part of what is hard for us. It's like, well, I could do it here or there or anywhere. I could do it in this relationship. I could do it in Zambia, right? Oh, it turns out I'm going to do it here in this particular frame, right? I'm going to paint this particular picture of Zachness. It's going to look like this. There will be some limiting factor to it just because, well, that's kind of, we can only have this one little piece. Is that true? I don't know. I'm just making this up, right? But there's going to be expression in some way. And so where is it going to happen? How is it going to work? How about if we do a chat and people just, if you feel like it, you write in, what is your life purpose? Let's see.
Jules, could you say something about that difference? Some of us describing life purpose in terms of something monetizable versus life purpose being qualities.
I actually think, thank you for bringing in monetizable, because now we're here. So I think life purpose is still out here, that will get to intentions and actions, which will then create the monetizable part. So I think we're still in this realm here, but we're coming more and more into density. Does that answer your question, Marge? Great. Beautiful. Still happy looking at all this. Oh, yeah. So now to address Marge's question, Marge's point, like the next thing, okay, we're really going to manifest. What does that mean? Well, it means bring it onto the physical plane. So many of you will know where I'm going with this if we think our friend Maria Nemeth. She wrote Energy of Money, and then she wrote Mastering Life's Energies. This is a little diagram I took from Energy of Money a long time ago and use it often. I think of this the vagina handout. Because it's like rebirth, regeneration, right? So this is what we're playing around with. Metaphysical. There was nothing, and then oh, there was a thought. Let's have a class today. There was a you. Let's have a Susan today. Like, right? There was nothing, and except there was something. There was, right? The night sky is filled with its undifferentiated energy. It's the ethers. It's the substance of life is from space. But then we come up with ideas, thoughts. What we're doing here. So this undifferentiated, I'm not going to keep saying it, all right? So somewhere in here is your life purpose, is your ideas. So now we're going to get to intentions. So that 2024, okay, what are your intentions? And then we're going to break it into even further, like get it even more granular into the physical plane. Because here's her wonderful idea that I cite over and over again is, okay, it takes all this stuff, I have an intention. So I was just writing down some of my intentions. To follow flow and trust life as it unfolds. All right, so it's an intention. But I had more specific intentions, and you will too. One was to send in my book proposal to Sounds True and 2 other publishers, right? So an intention. Well, what's it going to take to get from here to here, right? I can have my intentions and be like, yeah, that's a nice idea. I'm going to hang out with those intentions. Or I can say, I actually really want to get these onto the physical plane, because this is what we've been playing with all day. There's the metaphysical of expanded energy, but then there's the physical plane where we've got form and cars and got to eat, where we can see, did I do it or did I not do it? And the thing that I just bring out from her great thinking is, oh, it doesn't just take money to get there. And it doesn't just take time. It takes these other energies too. It takes my physical vitality, it takes my creativity, it takes support. She calls that also relationship now. And it takes me really having a great time if I'm going to really get it from here over to here. And then also to see this whole thing that she talks about, the trouble at the border. That, okay, that I have my intentions and then right in here, but am I really going to get it out there? Am I really going to do the thing? Well, yes, if I use all of these things and I can find my way through my monkey mind and my limiting beliefs. So I will put that into your, into the chat so that you can get that. I'm going to stop the share and tell you. Why am I telling you that right now? There it is, Maria Nemeth. Now that was a lot that this is her whole book really. I just told you in 5 minutes. It's a good book. I'd recommend it. It's kind of old these days. And so starting to think about that for you, here's your life purpose. Now, the next step that I'm asking you to do is, so what are your intentions? What are your intentions? And so I want to take some time to play around with this. So here's my intention book. Ethel Green gave this to me many years ago. So my first time that I put intentions in here, 2002. Excuse me. And I love this. This was straight from Ethel. You see that? To make my life a masterpiece of joy. Isn't that the best? I just paraphrased her. No, I quoted her. That's straight out from her. You want to make your life a masterpiece of joy? Sure, why not? Right? I'd say it's getting more and more like that. But even from then, my main intention is to live an expansive life of faith and trust. So intentions, that's what she talks about. And you can tell I've got like lots of stuff in this book. And I just was adding 2022. Oh, 24. I can never get myself in the right year. Is that true? Anyway, I was just adding 2024. Okay, look, I am in the right year. So that's good. So I'd like you to take time right now. Let's see, about 10 minutes. Some of you are already working at it. What are your intentions? What are the biggest things you want to create? You don't know how to do it. This is not the how, all right? We are not at the how at all. We're at the very wide angle lens of the what. So what do you really want in this next year?
Can I ask you to differentiate between intention and life purpose?
Yes.
Like how am I making the leap here?
Great. And life purpose is the biggest context. And now that I have like my life purpose is to, well, I've got lots of them. Have a great time, live always, all these things. Now it's the next focus. So what's it going to look like? It's not so broad as I couldn't tell if I'd done it or not. It would be more specific to, it's going to look like this. So another one. to play easily with folks who are really into following what wants to happen. Right? So it's, instead of the huge view, it's getting more specific into what would it look like. Anna, how's that? No, does more?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
working. That's my working on it face.
play with me with one. What are you thinking about?
I just finished this big project I've been doing, and I like want it to reach people. So, like having the most impact. I don't know.
Great.
Am I thinking like? Am I intending like numbers? Am I intend like? No, not like
Not
this.
at numbers. We're not at numbers. Nope. So here's one of mine. To step into the world, bringing the gifts of EPI to as many people as I can. But we're not at numbers. You can tell numbers are even more dense.
Okay.
We'll get to numbers. I didn't really tell you how much longer. I'll just check in. Let's do 2 more minutes and I'll check and see if you need more. Of course you need more.
Julie, I can already feel the density happening.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Yeah, and I'm like, do we need this part? Could we just stay in the other part?
Well, tell me more, Ashley. What's happening for you?
Hmm.
Or should I say Jeb?
What is happening for me? I feel tighter, I guess.
And is there a thought behind there?
Yeah. Something like it's something about it's starting to feel sticky. Like
Your body's starting to feel sticky.
yeah, and like thoughts like but this, but that.
Okay. As in trying to solve it already? This is
Let me think if I'm trying to solve it already. Yeah, maybe it's like I'm trying to stay out of solving it. And maybe I just like hear the old ways that I've been trying to solve it, or it's just sticky. It's like, ew, all of a sudden I got in the goo.
You got in the goo.
Or in the ooh.
Well, thanks for speaking that, Ashley. And then do you want to tell us what you're actually playing around with? What's the
Yeah, like one, let's see. Well, that's interesting, Julie, because one of them was really easy and one of them was really hard.
okay.
So one of them I have a lot more stories around and one of them I don't. So maybe that's just that.
Well, or let's go with the one that you have a lot of stories that's got the sticky ooh.
Okay, it's create ease and proximity to the things I love, enjoy more flow, and that's where I got stuck.
Because
total shutdown.
Great, thank you. Because here's your reactor brain coming online. And it's saying what? I feel scared, mad, sad.
Let's see, I have a lump in my throat. I'm hot. My heart's beating. I think it's like all of them.
Oh.
Mad. Scared, sad.
So first to notice, that's all that's happened. Is that something got triggered in your conditioned responses if we went to that first graphic, like that's all that's happened. Is, we're playing around and then boop, right? Which is, of course, that's what happens over and over and over. So yay, thanks for being the person to really point to that. And then let's just walk you through it. Like what are you said lump in your throat. What stands out the most?
About the lump, well, the lump in my throat is the sensation that stands out the most.
Great, and so is
let's see. And then it just totally shifted, and now I feel heat. So let's go with heat, like scared.
so breathing with scare, yay to your body, and then what's the perceived threat or danger right here?
Stuckness forever.
Yeah, stuckness forever.
Yeah.
And letting yourself breathe with that. And Ashley, I wonder, while you're with this, what does this remind you of from your past? Stuckness forever.
I mean, literally, Julie, the first thing that came to mind was like the birth canal. And I'm like, nope, can't possibly be, but that's what literally came to my mind first.
Do you know anything about your birth?
Yeah.
What do you know?
Yeah. I don't think I was stuck forever.
Well, here you are.
Yeah. I don't think it was a particularly long labor. It seemed just kind of average. Well, now I'm like, maybe I don't know that much about it. I can't remember if my mom had an epidural. Yeah, I don't know.
Now, of course, this sounds like something for us to play around with for you. And yeah, right, that's right, stuck forever, regardless of whether it was an easy birth from somebody else's perspective. It doesn't mean it was from yours. We're just, geez, I'm in this place and I'm stuck. So yeah, looking at Laura right above you.
Laura, did I get you?
Can't get out. Just to speak to this, Gay and Katie Hendricks did a lot of perinatal, prenatal stuff. I mean, that was a big focus for them. I'm not as schooled in that, although I've certainly supported people through kind of the experience. I mean, of what does it feel like to be stuck forever and how to move that through your body. But to not poo-poo it as much as to say, oh, that's, of course, this would come up. And of course, my life would then reflect this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's cool.
And I think that you just ran into something, the stickiness. It's like, well, what's your intention? Maybe to clear some of that or to find a way.
Yeah, that feels really good. Like, oh, I can breathe. I'm back. Like, clear the stuckness feels like a huge opportunity. Like, literally, all my sensations just changed.
Great. Trust your body. Love that. Thank you for taking us there. Because yeah, so whatever's coming up for other folks too, that's such a beautiful example, Ashley. Here we are way out here. But again, it's not as though our bodies have had to get to this point. So we all have all the stuff. Of course we do. There's a reason we haven't manifested the things that we think we might want to. Well, right. The stuff is in our bodies. And so, yes, finding a way to clear that out. And yay, EPI, I've got lots of time and space to do that. Anything else coming up from anybody that you want to speak to? Oh, I'm looking at Hannah's. Really?
Yeah, I have this I have an arm thing. That's like my arm, I was a C-section baby, but my arm was stuck. So they had to like push me back in and turn me around. And now like when I ski, like skiing, I like can't start. I'm like, but what about my arms? I like feel like they're not gonna make it.
Jeez.
So my arm trauma, they're just getting left behind.
I'm doing a note to self, if the birth stuff comes up more, there are more resources we could have around that would help us. We could go into a pool and do some fun things, and so that turns into something. Yeah, really, really very, very rich.
I noticed that as I was writing down some ideas, that I started to say, oh, there's just, I can't, and so then my intentions is to ask the universe for help.
Oh.
And then my next one is to remember to ask the universe for help.
And how about this one of actually being willing to receive help?
I think so. True.
Might
There's
come in
that
a
one.
different form than what your mind had imagined. Yeah, and to just add this in of when you're creating these intentions, it's not about how am I going to do it. It's not about what's the solution, right? Our solver can get right in the middle of creating the intention versus just letting ourselves set the intention without having any idea the how. Remember, humans supply the intentions, nature supplies the raw materials. So that's why I'm spending this time here on this.
I noticed this is Sarah, not iPad. I noticed that I put my intention is have fun, right? And then I got like kind of like, oh, like, but there's so much shit in the world. Why should you have fun?
Right?
So I don't know if this is a good intention, but so then I wrote let go of shame and guilt.
Oh, right.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah, shame and guilt and potentially the rest of the stuff below the line. You might, here's one I'd offer to use to it's my intention to live above the line, which it's really a commitment for me because of that kind of thing. Of course, oh my God, the things in the world, and how could I, and versus actually believing that as I'm in those expanded realms, that is service to you and everyone around me.
Yeah. And that is true because that's you. I mean, you do live in service and joy and peace and above the line. I mean, maybe not all the time, but whenever I see you, that's the feeling I get. And that's such a gift. So thank you.
Is completely my pleasure to offer that as right, so that it doesn't have to mean taking away from somebody else as much as supporting us all, supporting us to live together in this more expanded plane. It's great to see you.
I really appreciate that reframe because I remember so long ago, it's like, the universe doesn't hear in the negative, right? So instead of being like, well, I don't want blah, 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 right? Like it doesn't really translate that way. And thinking about, well, that letting go of as an intention, but like just that reminder, maybe instead of letting go of these things, it's like, oh yeah, living more intentionally or living more above the line, like creating more space for that. Right. And like living with more confidence or living in those spaces that just feel more like empowering as opposed to like reinforcing that negative.
Great. Thank you. So leading into how to even put words to these intentions. So exactly what you're saying, Heather, to speak them in the positive. What is I really wanting? Although it's not, the intention is I want to, the intention is my life is in flow. Yeah. Whatever it is. All right, we've got 23 minutes. So what to do with this? Send you back to your breakout rooms for 10 minutes. Me. Instead of doing that, well, we might do that a little bit more at the end, but I want to show you this idea. For some of you, now some of you like Ashley, it might already be dense. It's already dense, but others of you might like this. This as a way to, if you're kind of goal oriented. So I'm going to just show you it. So this I learned from Imagination Made Real. Some of you have heard me talking about that, which is this cool kit that some friends of mine made many years ago. And so they came up with this format. This is Chris Lucerne and Gail Coleman. And they said, okay, so here is how you could think about this. You've got your main intentions. So here's an intention. But what you can do is, I mean, some of you will like this, and for some folks, this is way too dense. So my milestone, so if my intention is to step into the world, bringing the gifts of EPI to as many people as possible, a milestone would be, let's see, Jen and I have completed Energizing You, which is a program we've been working on. All right, so it's a milestone. It would say, oh, I made it towards this. It's how would I know I've gotten towards my intention? And then my mind loves this kind of stuff. And then I can say my actions would be things like I review what's left, and I make time with Jen to meet with Jen. Right? So then now we're really down to the, right? Down to back into density, back into the physical plane where, okay, I can say, well, did I review what's left to do? Yes or no? I can make a little checkbox there. Did I make a time to meet with Jen? Yes or no? Right? So my actions take me to the milestone, which support the intention. And all of this is is underneath my life purpose. So that's what I'm suggesting you do right now, is look at your intentions. If this floats your boat, if you like thinking about things like this, look at your intentions and then actually create some milestones for yourself. Could be 1, it could be 3, many as you want. I think while you're pondering, I think I will put you back into breakout rooms just for 10 minutes, just so you can work with other folks if you're stuck about something. So I'll do that.
Go on. Go. Go do your business. Go.
All right. Undifferentiated energy, life purpose, intentions, milestones, action. I dug this out. This is the Imagination Made Real course book. I looked it up. So you can actually go looking for it. Chris is still doing a little bit of it, but it just said coming soon, so I don't know. If you actually are interested in doing more with this, you can either borrow my copy. I mean, they just put so much energy and time into this. They really created a wonderful thing. I don't know how we found, it used to be on DVDs and CDs, so I don't know how we found that, but we could probably hunt it down if anybody's interested. So, questions, comments, thoughts before we have our dance party? What's this like for you? What's coming up?
We decided that things could be simple and joyful.
What?
Just be that easy.
What?
I decided I don't want to write a book. I mean, I do if it's joyful, but my intention is to live in joy and not add another layer of expectation and all that. I just want to be in joy. And if the
out of my
product is
hair.
great, if it's not, it's okay too.
How's that feel, Vanessa?
It was great. And as a group, we just kind of we were all kind of feeling like, well, could it just be simple? Could it just be joyful? So that felt
simple, joyful. Going back to, because why not? Little Vanessa baby. Little bubbles. And that's all it took.
That's right.
Like, look at Vanessa and her bubbles. Simple, joyful.
I love what you just said, Vanessa, about simple and joyful, because I just looked at my intentions and I did write this list, but I'm like, no, actually the only intention I really have is to follow my joy and follow the fun every day.
Oh, there we go.
So making space for that impulse. And then I'm super curious if the milestone and action can just seamlessly happen when I'm following my heart and following my joy.
Seems possible and maybe likely. And maybe that's not even of interest to you, like, because it doesn't seem right for whatever reason. So it's like, or maybe it's like, oh yeah, did those things because I could. It was really fun, and I had my dance party. That's exactly what it was. What I can't say it wanted to happen.
Yes.
Yes. What else? Just want to wave at Erin because I don't know you. I don't think. Hi, Erin. Good to see you.
Julie, I'm Kathleen's sister. I met you at your holiday party.
Oh, thank you. There you are.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for context. I did not know. I did not put that together. Of course, because there's your last name.
Thank you so much for this. This was just a delight and exactly what I needed today. Thank you. And it's really nice to get to know some of you.
Thanks for coming, Erin. And Brittany, you too. Thanks for jumping in and being part of us. We do this kind of thing. I don't know what kind of follow-up you want, if anything. This is what we do at EPI. It's kind of this over and over in different directions. You can, for $20, you can be part of our Live Above the Line, and then you're just part of us if you want to. And then we've got all the things coming up, all the relationship weekend retreats and, LCs and all the stuff. So, we're out here supporting you to be living from essence and expressing your genius in the world, because that's the best thing. And Bethany, now I'm waving at you too. Hi. I have a moment there. So anything that you want to say before we end today and have our 2-minute dance party, but I'll have to figure out how to share my Spotify. Anything you want to put in the chat? Okay. Oh, you bet. This is the best stuff. I mean, what else could we do? Here we are in our one precious life, expressing who we are from who we came in to be. And thank you so much for being willing. I keep saying it, but I want to stress it. For some of us, staying in a body was not the easiest thing to do. I want to acknowledge that, right? Staying in a body has been challenging and been like, why would I do this? I don't know if I wanted ever to do this, and why am I still doing this? That kind of thing. So to really understand what it's meant for each one of you to still be here, all of the challenges that you've stepped into and been willing to sort of walk through. So I really want to acknowledge that and to thank you, because I don't know who I would play with if it wasn't you. So I'm gonna go see if I can really do a 2-minute dance party, because I have to find Spotify, Zach. I have to figure out how to share it. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna play my favorite song right now. Hang on.
Is this part of Zach's purpose?
I think it might be to spread dancing everywhere he goes. Is it, Zach?
Little bit. Just a little bit.
Oh. All right, well, it's gonna have to be this one then, because I can't find the other. It's my second favorite. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. You don't have to stay on unless you want to dance.
Thanks,
Drop it